Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, one of England's oldest clubs, was founded in 1865 by a group of shinty players seeking a new sport. They adopted Garibaldi red to honour Italian freedom fighters, a choice that foreshadowed a revolutionary future. For over a century, Forest was a modest provincial side, but history was rewritten in 1975 with the arrival of Brian Clough and his assistant Peter Taylor. Together, they engineered the greatest turnaround in football history, taking the club from the second division to the English title in just 3 years. They achieved the impossible by winning back-to-back European Cups in 1979 and 1980, defeating Malmö and a powerhouse Hamburg side. This era was defined by legends like the genius John Robertson, goalkeeper Peter Shilton, and Trevor Francis, the Britain's first £1 million player. The image of Psycho Stuart Pearce later came to symbolise the club's fighting spirit. While the post-Clough years brought financial struggles and relegation, the miracle he built never faded from memory. That belief finally paid off in 2022, when Steve Cooper led Forest back to the Premier League, reigniting the pride of the City Ground and restoring a true giant of the game. Rangers. The story of Rangers began in 1872, founded by 4 teenagers on the banks of the River Clyde. From these humble origins grew a Scottish institution, with Ibrox Stadium becoming a cathedral of football. Wearing royal blue, Rangers established a dominance that includes a world record 55 league titles. Their crowning European moment came in 1972, when they defeated Dynamo Moscow to win the Cup Winners' Cup. The 1990s marked another golden era, as stars like Ali McCoist, Brian Laudrup, and Paul Gascoigne led the club to a historic 9 consecutive league titles. However, the club's spirit was truly tested in 2012. Following a financial collapse, Rangers were forced to restart in the 4th tier of Scottish football. Their decade-long climb back to the summit was a journey of loyalty and pain, culminating in 2021 under Steven Gerrard. That season, they reclaimed the premiership undefeated, stopping Celtic's dominance and completing one of sport's greatest comebacks. With a passionate fan base that fueled their run to the 2022 Europa League final, Rangers stands as a symbol of resilience, defined by the intensity of the Old Firm derby and an unyielding will to survive. Manchester United. Founded in 1878 as Newton Heath by railway workers, Manchester United rose from industrial roots to become a global superpower. Saved from bankruptcy in 1902 and renamed, the club's identity was forged in fire under Sir Matt Busby. He built the Busby Babes, a youthful team decimated by the tragic 1958 Munich air disaster. Rising from the ashes, United became the first English club to win the European Cup in 1968, led by the Holy Trinity of George Best, Bobby Charlton, and Dennis Law. The modern legend of United was written by Sir Alex Ferguson. Between 1986 and 2013, he created a dynasty of winners, capturing 13 Premier League titles. The pinnacle remains the 1999 treble, capped by the miraculous Champions League final comeback against Bayern Munich. Icons like Eric Cantona, Roy Keane, Ryan Giggs, Wayne Rooney, and Cristiano Ronaldo embodied the club's relentless spirit, famous for Fergie time. The belief that they would always score late to win. United's history is defined by drama, whether it is the sheer dominance of the 1990s or their record 20 league titles. Manchester United remains a brand synonymous with victory and resilience. Manchester City. Manchester City's story began in 1880, formed by St Mark's Church in West Gorton to combat local poverty and gang culture. Renamed Manchester City in 1894, the club adopted sky blue to symbolise hope and renewal. While they celebrated early success with the 1904 FA Cup, the club's trajectory was forever altered by the 2008 Abu Dhabi takeover. This sparked one of the most rapid transformations in sporting history. The first climax arrived in 2012 when Sergio Aguero's stoppage time winner against QPR secured the title in the most dramatic finish the Premier League has ever seen. The club's golden age, however, belongs to Pep Guardiola. His tactical genius turned City into a relentless machine, dominating English football with a style unmatched in precision. Legends like Vincent Kompany, Yaya Touré, David Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne became the architects of this dynasty. The ultimate milestone was achieved in 2023, when a squad spearheaded by Erling Haaland captured the Champions League, completing a historic continental treble. From the humiliation of their rivals in the 6-1 Old Trafford victory to world dominance, Manchester City stands today as a testament to visionary planning and footballing perfection. Arsenal. Few clubs in English football carry a lineage as rich as Arsenal. Born in 1886, when munitions workers formed Dial Square in Woolwich, the club embodied industrial grit before moving north to Highbury in 1913. This relocation set the stage for Herbert Chapman, who transformed the club in the 1930s. Chapman modernised the sport with the WM formation and floodlights, delivering league titles and forging a reputation for innovation. However, the club's identity was forever changed by the arrival of Arsène Wenger in 1996. Wenger introduced a fluid attacking style and new training methods, unleashing global stars like Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and Robert Pires. The pinnacle of this era was the 2003 to 2004 Invincibles, who completed an entire Premier League season unbeaten, a historic feat unmatched in the modern game. Arsenal's history is punctuated by dramatic victories, from the last-minute 1989 title clincher at Anfield to their record-breaking 14 FA Cup victories. Whether through the leadership of Tony Adams or the brilliance of Henry, the Gunners maintain an identity rooted in elegance and the Arsenal way, standing tall as one of England's most decorated and respected clubs. Hamburg. Hamburger SV is a pillar of German football history. While officially formed through a 1919 merger, its roots trace back to 1887, giving it a deep legacy in the port city. Known for its blue, white and black colours, the club became a founding member of the Bundesliga and earned the nickname Der Dino for being the only team never relegated for 55 years, a streak that tragically ended in 2018. However, Hamburg's identity is defined by its golden era in the late 1970s and early 80s. Under the legendary manager Ernst Happel, HSV became a continental giant. The absolute peak arrived in 1983, when they stunned a star-studded Juventus side 1-0 to win the European Cup, thanks to a famous goal by Felix Magath. This era featured icons like the header specialist Horst Hrubesch, the defensive anchor Manfred Koltz, and English superstar Kevin Keegan, who won the Ballon d'Or while at the club. With 6 Bundesliga titles and a passionate fan base that remained loyal even after relegation, HSV remains a sleeping giant. Legends like Raphael van der Vaart and the immortal Uwe Seeler symbolise a club built on tradition and northern pride. Celtic. Celtic Football Club was founded in 1887, not for glory, but for charity. Brother Walfred created the team to support impoverished immigrants in Glasgow's East End, instilling values of community that remain vital today. Wearing the iconic green and white hoops, Celtic quickly became a dominant force, but their defining moment arrived under the legendary Jock Stein. In 1967, he led the Lisbon Lions, a team entirely born within 30 miles of the stadium, to the European Cup, making Celtic the first British club to ever conquer the continent. That victory over Inter Milan set a standard for attacking football that the club still cherishes. Domestically, their dominance is staggering, fueled by the intense Old Firm rivalry with Rangers. Celtic have amassed over 50 league titles, with the unprecedented quadruple treble in 2020 marking a golden modern era. Icons like Jimmy Johnstone, Kenny Dalglish, Henrik Larsson and Scott Brown are worshipped at Parkhead. The club's unique atmosphere was perfectly captured in the famous 2012 win against Barcelona, achieved with just 16% possession. Today, Celtic represents more than just football. It is a global institution built on heritage, charity, and an unshakable will to win. Liverpool. Liverpool FC was born in 1892 from a dispute between Everton and Anfield's landlord, John Holding. From this conflict emerged a club with a distinct working-class soul. The identity we know today was forged by Bill Shankly in the 1960s, who famously switched the kit to all red to symbolise danger and power. This laid the foundation for Bob Paisley, who built one of history's greatest dynasties. With legends like Kenny Dalglish, Ian Rush, and Graham Souness, Liverpool conquered the continent, winning 4 European Cups between 1977 and 1984. The club's modern mythology centres on the Miracle of Istanbul in 2005. Led by the inspirational Steven Gerrard, Liverpool recovered from a 3-0 half-time deficit against AC Milan to win the Champions League on penalties. After a 30-year wait, Jurgen Klopp returned the club to the summit, delivering the 2019 Champions League and the historic 2020 Premier League title. Legends like Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Luis Suarez have thrilled the Kop, but the true star remains the collective spirit. Driven by the anthem, "You'll Never Walk Alone," Liverpool is more than a football club. It is an emotional institution known for the most electrifying European nights in the world. Porto. Founded in 1893 by Antonio Nicolau de Almeida, FC Porto was created as a northern defiance against Lisbon's dominance. Wearing blue and white to honour Portugal's maritime heritage, the club became a symbol of regional pride. While early decades brought domestic success, their true identity as Dragons was forged in the 1980s under visionary coach José Maria Pedroto, who instilled a siege mentality against the capital. This culminated in 1987 when Porto shocked the world by defeating Bayern Munich 2-1 in the European Cup final, immortalised by Rabah Majer's legendary backheel goal. A second golden era arrived under José Mourinho. His tactical masterclass led Porto to back-to-back European glories, the 2003 UEFA Cup and the 2004 Champions League. With a squad featuring Deco, Ricardo Carvalho and Vitor Bahia, they proved that discipline could conquer Europe's elite. With fierce rivalries against Benfica and Sporting and a fortress at the Estadio do Dragão, Porto remains a European heavyweight defined by grit, intelligence, and an insatiable hunger to win. Juventus. Founded in 1897 by Turinese students, Juventus grew from a local project into the undisputed monarch of Italian football. Their iconic black and white stripes symbolise discipline, while the Agnelli family ownership has instilled a ruthless philosophy. Winning is not important. It is the only thing that counts. The old lady conquered the world in the 1980s and 90s under Giovanni Trapattoni and Marcello Lippi, with the 1996 Champions League triumph over Ajax standing as their continental crown. However, the club's true soul was tested in 2006. Demoted to Serie B during the Calciopoli scandal, Juventus faced oblivion. Yet, legends like Gianluigi Buffon, Alessandro Del Piero, and Pavel Nedved refused to leave, proving that loyalty outweighs glory. They carried the team back to the top, birthing a new, angrier dynasty that delivered 9 consecutive Serie A titles from 2012 to 2020, a dominance unmatched in Calcio history. With icons ranging from Michel Platini and Zinedine Zidane to Roberto Baggio, Juventus remains a symbol of relentless power. Their ability to survive their darkest hour and return stronger defines the club's eternal legacy. AC Milan. Few clubs in world football carry a legacy as deep and influential as AC Milan. Founded in 1899 by English expatriates Alfred Edwards and Herbert Kilpin, the club was born from a bold vision. Kilpin famously declared the team would wear red to signify the devil and black to strike fear, a philosophy that has defined the Rossoneri for over a century. While the club found early success, the 1950s marked a true turning point. The arrival of Swedish icons Nordahl, Lidholm, and Grenoli transformed Milan into a powerhouse, bringing home multiple Scudetti and making the San Siro a fortress. The club's golden era arrived in the late 1980s under Arrigo Sacchi. His revolutionary pressing system, executed by legends like Franco Baresi, Paolo Maldini, Marco van Basten, and Ruud Gullit, changed the sport forever. Their 4-0 demolition of Barcelona in the 1994 Champions League final remains a benchmark of European dominance. The dynasty evolved under Carlo Ancelotti, building a team around Andrea Pirlo, Kaká, and Clarence Seedorf. The 2003 and 2007 Champions League triumphs specifically the emotional revenge victory over Liverpool, cemented Milan's status as European giants with 7 major continental titles. FC Barcelona, founded in 1899 by Joan Gamper and a group of Swiss, English, and Catalan athletes, FC Barcelona was created as a symbol of inclusivity. Adopting the motto, Més que un club, the team became the heartbeat of Catalan identity and resistance. While they enjoyed early domestic success, their global destiny was shaped by Johan Cruyff. As the architect of the Dream Team, Cruyff delivered the club's first European Cup in 1992, establishing the possession-based philosophy that defines them today. This evolution peaked under Pep Guardiola, whose tiki-taka revolution produced the most beautiful football ever seen. Powered by the alien talent of Lionel Messi and midfield maestros Xavi and Iniesta, Barcelona captured historic trebles in 2009 and 2015. Their dominance was absolute, best showcased in the 2011 Champions League final against Manchester United and the humiliation of Real Madrid in the 6-2 Clásico at the Bernabeu. From Ronaldinho's flair to the miraculous 2017 remontada against PSG, the Camp Nou has witnessed history. With Messi's 700-plus goals leading the way, Barcelona proved that winning could be an art form, forever changing how the world views the beautiful game. Marseille. Olympique de Marseille was founded in 1899 by René Dufour de Montmirail, blending sport with the maritime soul of France's most culturally diverse city. Adopting white and sky blue to reflect the Mediterranean, OM became a unifying force for a passionate, often rebellious population. While historically significant, the club's true golden age arrived in the late 1980s, under the charismatic and controversial president Bernard Tapie. This era transformed Marseille into a European juggernaut, guided by coach Raymond Goethals and stars like Jean-Pierre Papin, Didier Deschamps, and Rudi Völler. They reached the summit of football in 1993. In a tense final against the mighty AC Milan, a header by Basile Boli secured a 1-0 victory, making Marseille the first and only French club to win the Champions League. This triumph remains the proudest moment in French club football. Despite subsequent scandals, the club's identity remains fierce, defined by the electric atmosphere of the Stade Vélodrome and the intense Le Classique rivalry against PSG. With modern icons like Didier Drogba, Franck Ribéry, and Steve Mandanda, Marseille remains not just a club, but a religion for its people. Bayern Munich. The story of Bayern Munich began in 1900 with an act of rebellion. Led by Franz John, 11 footballers walked away from a gymnastics club to form a team that would unknowingly become Germany's sporting colossus. Although they claimed a first national title in 1932, the club's true ascent to global power began in the 1960s. A golden generation featuring the legendary axes of Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, and Sepp Maier defined an era, powering Bayern to 3 consecutive European Cups from 1974 to 1976, and establishing a standard of elite dominance. Modern history is a testament to the motto, Mir san mir, we are who we are. The club achieved football perfection with the historic 2013 treble under Jupp Heynckes and the stunning 2020 sextuple under Hansi Flick, one of the most complete seasons in history. Iconic moments like the dramatic 2001 Champions League victory over Valencia paved the way for decades of success. This era was shaped by the brilliance of Arjen Robben, Franck Ribéry, Philipp Lahm, Manuel Neuer, and Robert Lewandowski, with a pipeline producing homegrown legends like Bastian Schweinsteiger and Thomas Müller. Bayern Munich remains a relentless winning machine, symbolising absolute consistency and excellence. Real Madrid. Real Madrid was founded in 1902 by brothers Juan and Carlos Padros, establishing a club that would become the standard bearer for football royalty. Their iconic all-white kit symbolised purity, and in 1920, royal patronage granted them the title Real. However, the club's true mythology was written in the 1950s under visionary president Santiago Bernabeu. He built the stadium that bears his name and assembled a team of superstars including Alfredo Di Stefano, Ferenc Puskás, and Paco Gento. Together, they achieved the impossible, winning the first 5 European Cups consecutively. The 7-3 victory over Eintracht Frankfurt in 1960 remains perhaps the greatest final ever played. The club's identity is defined by an obsession with European glory. This legacy passed to modern icons like Raúl, Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo Nazario, and Sergio Ramos. The obsession was satisfied in 2014 with La Decima, breaking a 12-year curse. Then came the era of Cristiano Ronaldo and coach Zidane, who delivered an unprecedented 3 consecutive Champions League titles. Whether it's the magic of the Bernabeu or miraculous remontadas against Europe's elite, Real Madrid proves time and again that the Champions League is their competition, and the game isn't over until they win. Atletico Madrid. Few clubs embody defiance and identity as fiercely as Atletico Madrid. Founded in 1903 by Basque students modelling the team after Athletic Bilbao, the club quickly became a symbol for Madrid's working class, acting as a counterweight to their wealthy neighbours. Their iconic red and white stripes, sourced from cheap mattress fabric, earned them the nickname Los Colchoneros and shaped a culture of grit. While early decades saw modest success, the 1974 European Cup final, where they lost in heartbreaking fashion, forged the emotional resilience that defines them to this day. The modern era belongs to Diego Simeone, whose arrival in 2011 revolutionised the club. With relentless intensity and tactical discipline, Simeone broke the Real Madrid-Barcelona duopoly, capturing La Liga titles in 2014 and 2021. The 2014 title, sealed with a draw at the Camp Nou, stands as one of Spanish football's greatest triumphs. Legends like Fernando Torres, Antoine Griezmann, Diego Godin, and the iconic Luis Aragonés have carried this torch. Despite agonising Champions League final losses to Real Madrid, Atletico have earned global respect. Today, they represent pure passion, proving that collective spirit and an unshakable belief can challenge the world's biggest footballing giants. Benfica. Benfica was founded in 1904 in Lisbon's Belém district, born from the ambition of young athletes to represent their working-class community. Adopting the eagle as a symbol of independence, the club forged a deep connection with the people, uniting millions of Benfiquistas worldwide. While successful domestically, their destiny changed forever with the arrival of manager Bela Gutmann and the emergence of the legendary Eusebio. Together, they stormed Europe, winning back-to-back European Cups in 1961 and 1962. The 5-3 victory over Real Madrid in the 62 final remains their magnum opus, signalling a massive shift in continental power. Despite the infamous Gutmann curse regarding European finals, Benfica's domestic dominance is unrivaled, boasting over 38 Primeira Liga titles. Their modern legacy is fueled by the world-renowned Seixal Academy, a factory for elite talent that has produced stars like Bernardo Silva, Juan Felix, Ruben Dias, and Renato Sanchez. Whether remembering the magic of Eusebio or celebrating decisive derby wins against rivals Porto and Sporting, Benfica stands as a pillar of Portuguese culture. Defined by tradition and the mystique, they remain a European giant, forever hunting the international glory that built their legend. Galatasaray. Galatasaray was born in the classrooms of Galatasaray High School in 1905, founded by Ali Sami Yen and his fellow students. Created to represent Turkey internationally, the club adopted yellow and red colours to symbolise fire and victory. This intellectual foundation quickly evolved into a sporting empire, becoming the country's most decorated club with over 23 league titles. However, their true immortality was secured at the turn of the millennium under the Imperator Fatih Terim. The 2000 season remains the golden standard of Turkish football, led by the genius of George Hagi, the goals of Hakan Şükür, and the heroics of Tafarel. Galatasaray defeated Arsenal on penalties to win the UEFA Cup, becoming the first and only Turkish team to lift a major European trophy. They cemented this dominance by shocking Real Madrid to win the UEFA Super Cup months later. Iconic figures like Metin Oktay, Didier Drogba, Wesley Sneijder, and long-serving captain Fernando Muslera have carried the torch. Whether through historic derby wins, against arch-rivals Fenerbahce, or creating the intimidating hell atmosphere, for European visitors, Galatasaray stands as the conqueror of Europe and the pride of Istanbul. Chelsea. Chelsea Football Club was founded in 1905 at the Rising Sun pub, born from businessman Gus Mears' ambition to bring top-tier football to Stamford Bridge, while the club quickly became known for glamour and star power. Major silverware was rare until the 1955 league title. The club's gritty identity began to take shape with the 1970 FA Cup triumph, inspired by the King of Stamford Bridge, Peter Osgood. However, the trajectory changed forever in 2003 with Roman Abramovich's takeover, transforming Chelsea into a global titan. The arrival of Jose Mourinho created a relentless winning machine, anchored by a spine of legends including John Terry, Frank Lampard, Petr Cech, Ashley Cole, and Didier Drogba. The Blues captured back-to-back Premier League titles in 2005 and 2006. The club's crowning glory came in 2012, when they won the Champions League in dramatic fashion, defeating Bayern Munich on penalties in their own backyard. A second European title in 2021 solidified their status among the elite. From the 4-2 classic against Barcelona to the emergence of academy talents like Reece James, Chelsea embodies a culture of ruthlessness, proving that while investment built the squad, spirit won the trophies. Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce was founded in 1907 in the Kadıköy district of Istanbul, emerging during the twilight of the Ottoman Empire. Created by young locals defying restrictive laws, the club initially played in secrecy but soon became a beacon of pride for Istanbul's Asian side. Their yellow and navy colours were chosen to represent brightness and strength. The club's legend was truly forged during the occupation after World War I, when they famously defeated British military teams. These victories transformed Fenerbahce from a mere sports club into a potent national symbol of resistance. Domestically, they are titans, boasting 19 Turkish championships and numerous cups. Their European pinnacle arrived in 2008 under the legendary Zico, when they reached the Champions League quarter-finals. This modern era was defined by the genius of Alex de Souza, a playmaker so beloved that his statue now stands in Kadıköy. Other icons like Lefter Küçükhanduniadis, Can Bartu, and Roberto Carlos have worn the shirt with distinction. However, nothing compares to the passion of the Intercontinental Derby. The 6-0 victory over arch-rivals Galatasaray in 2002 remains the club's most celebrated domestic triumph, a scoreline that Fener fans will never let their neighbours forget. Inter Milan. Born in 1908 from a schism with AC Milan, FC Internazionale was founded on a rebellious principle: football must be open to all nationalities. This Brothers of the World philosophy defined the Nerazzurri, whose black and blue stripes immediately challenged their city rivals. While they enjoyed early success, the club's true mythos was built in the 1960s under Helenio Herrera. His disciplined Catenaccio system created La Grande Inter, a team featuring Sandro Mazzola, Luis Suarez, and Giacinto Facchetti that captured back-to-back European Cups in 1964 and 1965. The modern era is defined by the historic 2010 treble under Jose Mourinho, powered by the leadership of Javier Zanetti and the goals of Diego Milito and Wesley Sneijder. Inter became the first Italian club to win the Champions League, Serie A, and Coppa Italia in one season. Their 2-0 victory over Bayern Munich in the final remains the club's emotional peak. From the humiliation of Milan in the 6-0 derby of 2001 to the brilliance of Ronaldo Il Fenomeno and the power of Adriano, Inter remains a club of flair and drama. Today, stars like Lautaro Martinez carry the torch for a team that never suffers in silence. Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund was born in 1909 from an act of rebellion. Frustrated by strict church control over their activities, a group of young men in the Borsigplatz district founded the club, naming it after a local brewery, Borussia. Adopting the iconic black and yellow, BVB became a symbol of fierce working-class pride, while they claimed a historic league title in 1956 and became the first German club to win a European trophy in 1966 against Liverpool. The club nearly vanished during the financial crises of the 1980s before staging a spectacular revival. That revival culminated in their greatest triumph, the 1997 Champions League final, defeating a star-studded Juventus 3-1, legends like Matthias Sammer, Karl-Heinz Riedel, and Andreas Möller secured BVB's place in history. The modern era was defined by Jurgen Klopp, whose electrifying gegenpressing delivered back-to-back titles and a domestic double in 2012. Stars like Marco Reus, Robert Lewandowski, Mats Hummels, and Erling Haaland have since thrilled the Yellow Wall, Europe's largest standing terrace. From the 4-1 demolition of Real Madrid in 2013 to their constant defiance of Bayern Munich, Dortmund remains a global phenomenon fueled by pure adrenaline and noise. Corinthians, founded in 1910 by labourers in São Paulo, Corinthians was born under the light of street lamps to represent the working class. Inspired by the English amateur side Corinthian FC, they adopted values of resilience and unity, earning the devotion of the Fiel Torcida, one of the most passionate fan bases on earth. While they dominated state championships early on, the club's soul was immortalised in the 1980s by the Democracia Corinthiana movement, led by the intellectual Socrates, along with Vladimir and Casagrande. The team fought for political freedom during Brazil's dictatorship, becoming a genuine symbol of national resistance. On the pitch, their history is defined by overcoming suffering to achieve glory. The absolute pinnacle arrived in 2012, when they finally conquered the Copa Libertadores undefeated, ending decades of heartbreak. They followed this by stunning Chelsea to win the FIFA Club World Cup, thanks to the heroic saves of Cassio. Legends like Rivellino, Ronaldo Fenomeno, Marcelinho Carioca, and Tevez have all worn the shirt, but the club remains defined by the collective. From the 1977 Paulista title that ended a 23-year drought to their global conquests, Corinthians is more than a team. It is a religion for over 30 million fans. S. Eindhoven. PSV Eindhoven was founded in 1913 by employees of the Philips Electronics Company, originally created to foster community among factory workers. This industrial origin shaped a club identity rooted in innovation and hard work. While they grew into a steady national contender, their absolute zenith arrived in the 1980s. Under the guidance of Guus Hiddink, a golden generation featuring Ronald Koeman and Ruud Gullit achieved perfection in the 1987 to 1988 season. They completed a historic treble, capped by defeating Benfica on penalties to lift the European Cup, a triumph that remains the pinnacle of the club's history. PSV is perhaps best known globally as football's ultimate finishing school. The club has an uncanny ability to identify and polish world-class talent, serving as the launchpad for Brazilian legends Romário and Ronaldo Nazário, as well as Dutch icons like Ruud van Nistelrooy, Arjen Robben, and Cody Gakpo, whether competing in the fierce, distinct rivalry against Ajax or stunning opponents in the Champions League. PSV remains a developmental powerhouse. Based at the Philips Stadion, they continue to blend domestic dominance with a reputation for producing the stars of tomorrow. Palmeiras. Founded in 1914 as Palestra Italia by São Paulo's Italian community, Palmeiras began as a symbol of immigrant pride. However, history forced a dramatic reinvention. During World War II, political pressure compelled a name change to Palmeiras in 1942. Days later, they won a decisive championship match in what is now celebrated as the Arrancada Heroica, heroic charge, cementing a spirit of resilience. The club is renowned for its Academia de Futebol eras. The first, in the 1960s, was led by the divine Ademir da Guia, playing football of such elegance it rivaled Pelé's Santos. A second golden age arrived in the 1990s, with stars like Edmundo, Rivaldo, and Roberto Carlos delivering a conveyor belt of trophies. The ultimate prize, the Copa Libertadores, was first captured in 1999 under the heroics of goalkeeper Saint Marcos. The modern era belongs to manager Abel Ferreira, whose tactical discipline delivered back-to-back Libertadores titles in 2020 and 2021. The 2020 victory, sealed by a stoppage time winner against Santos, remains iconic. With a fierce rivalry against Corinthians and a squad featuring talents like Rafael Veiga and Dudu, Palmeiras stands as Brazil's most decorated champion. Cruzeiro. Cruzeiro's story began in 1921, founded by Italian immigrants in Belo Horizonte under the name Palestra Italia. Originally wearing green and red, political pressure during World War II forced a historic transformation. In 1942, the club was reborn as Cruzeiro, adopting the blue and white colours of the Southern Cross constellation, a shift that sparked their rise to national glory. They exploded onto the scene in the 1960s behind the brilliance of Tostão. Their 1966 Taça Brazil victory, dismantling Pelé's invincible Santos side, remains one of the most iconic upsets in Brazilian history. The club's golden era spanned the 1990s and 2000s, featuring legends like Ronaldo Nazário, Dirceu Lopes, Sorin, and goalkeeper Fabio. While the 1997 Copa Libertadores title confirmed their continental might, the 2003 season stands as their masterpiece. Under the orchestration of the genius Alex, Cruzeiro achieved an unprecedented domestic treble, winning the league, Copa do Brasil, and state championship in a single year. Although recent years brought financial turmoil, the club's 2022 resurgence under new ownership reinvigorated the supporters. Today, Cruzeiro represents resilience, its history illuminated by the Southern Cross and fueled by a fan base that stood loyal through the darkest times to see their giant return. Olympiacos. Founded in 1925 in the port city of Piraeus, Olympiacos was created to represent the working class with fierce pride. Named after the ancient Olympic spirit, the club adopted red and white colours to symbolise passion and purity. From the beginning, they positioned themselves as the people's champion against the elite, forging a fan base known for unmatched intensity. They quickly evolved into the undisputed kings of Greek football, amassing a staggering 47 league titles, making them one of the most dominant domestic clubs in world history. Their golden era began in the 1950s under tactical pioneer Marton Bukovi, setting a standard for excellence. The club's heartbeat, however, is the Derby of the Eternal Enemies against Panathinaikos, a fixture fueled by deep cultural rivalry. European nights in Piraeus are legendary, where giants like Liverpool have fallen to the noise. The club has been home to global icons like Brazilian superstars Rivaldo and Giovanni, as well as club legends Predrag Djordjevic and Kostas Mitroglou. Under managers like Ernesto Valverde, they combined grit with style. Today, Olympiacos remains the fiery soul of Greek sport, demanding nothing less than victory. Napoli. Napoli was founded in 1926, born to give a voice to southern Italy against the wealthy, dominant clubs of the north. Their azure kits symbolised the Gulf of Naples, reflecting the inseparable bond between the city and the team. For decades, they were spirited underdogs. But history changed forever in 1984 with the arrival of Diego Armando Maradona. Maradona was more than a player, he became a messiah for the Neapolitans. Under his genius, Napoli defied the odds to win their first Scudetto in 1987, followed by a UEFA Cup in 1989 and a second league title in 1990. And legends like Careca and Ciro Ferrara played alongside him, but Diego remains the eternal patron saint of the city. After dark years of bankruptcy, Napoli rebuilt meticulously. Modern icons like Marek Hamšík and Dries Mertens restored their dignity, but the ultimate redemption arrived in 2023. Led by coach Luciano Spalletti and the dynamic duo of Victor Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia, Napoli captured their third Scudetto, ending a 33-year wait. The celebrations turned the city into an open-air festival, proving that nowhere on earth loves football quite like Naples. Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain was founded in 1970 through a merger intended to finally give the French capital a world-class football club. Adopting the red, blue, and white of the city, PSG quickly became a beacon of Parisian style. Their first golden era arrived in the 1990s under Canal Plus ownership. Led by icons like George Weah, David Ginola, and the Brazilian Maestro Rai, they captured the 1996 Cup Winners' Cup, becoming the youngest European club to lift a continental trophy. The club's trajectory shifted seismically in 2011 with the arrival of Qatar Sports Investments. This transformation turned PSG into a global brand. The arrival of Zlatan Ibrahimovic instilled a winning mentality, launching a decade of absolute domestic dominance. This new era assembled perhaps the most star-studded attack in history, featuring Neymar, Lionel Messi, and Kylian Mbappe. While they ruled League One, their obsession remained the Champions League, where they reached the 2020 final, falling narrowly to Bayern Munich. From the magic of the Parc des Princes to their status as a fashion and sporting icon, PSG represents the modern fusion of glamour, ambition, and relentless pursuit of European glory. LA Galaxy. Founded in 1994 as one of Major League Soccer's original franchises, LA Galaxy was built on a vision to bring world-class football to the United States. Aligning with the glitz of Los Angeles, the club quickly merged sport with entertainment. While early success arrived with stars like Kobe Jones and Mauricio Cienfuegos, the club's trajectory changed forever in 2007. The landmark signing of David Beckham didn't just transform the team, it elevated the entire league, turning the Galaxy into a global brand. The club's golden era was the dynasty of 2011 to 2014, powered by the holy trinity of Landon Donovan, Robbie Keane, and Beckham. The Galaxy played with a swagger that intimidated opponents, securing 3 titles in 4 years. With a record 5 MLS Cups, they remain the league's standard bearers. The club's history is also defined by the sheer audacity of its stars, most notably Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who announced his arrival with a stunning long-range volley in the first fierce El Tráfico derby against LAFC. From the tactical evolution of Bruce Arena to the unmatched support of the Riot Squad, LA Galaxy remains the original super club of North American soccer. Flamengo. Flamengo was born in 1895 on the beaches of Rio de Janeiro as a rowing club, but by 1911, football had captured its soul. Rising from Rio's vibrant neighbourhoods, the Rubro Negro quickly became Brazil's most popular team, embraced by the masses as O Mais Querido, the most beloved. The club reached mythical status in the 1980s, with the emergence of Zico, their ultimate idol. Under his command, Flamengo conquered the world in 1981, winning the Copa Libertadores and dismantling Liverpool 3-0 in the Intercontinental Cup, a masterclass that remains the gold standard of Brazilian football. After decades of waiting, a new golden era arrived in 2019 under Jorge Jesus. A super team featuring Bruno Henrique, Rascaeta, and Gabigol swept Brazilian football, winning the league and Libertadores in the same weekend. The 2019 Libertadores final against River Plate was pure cinema, with Gabigol scoring 2 late goals to secure the title in the dying seconds. From the elegance of Junior and Leandro to the cult hero status of Adriano and Petkovic, Flamengo is fueled by raw emotion. Whether dominating the Fla-Flu derby or conquering the continent, the nation of over 40 million fans ensures the Maracanã always pulses with red and black.